You've been putting in application after application, and it seems like nothing is catching. Well, hopefully these 4 tips are able to help you. Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today I'm going to be giving you guys 4 tips why you might not be landing that school counselor job. You've been putting in application after application, and it seems like nothing is catching. Well, hopefully these 4 tips are able to help you. You guys are going to definitely see me looking down at my tablet because I wrote all my stuff out. And you guys know, if you can add to this list, please put it down in the comments below. Not only would I like to read it, but I know others would like to read it as well. So let's not prolong the time. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So one of the things that I want you guys to keep in mind is, are you looking for jobs only in your area? I've talked to you guys before in the video that I posted about, is there a demand for school counselors and applying for jobs in a smaller city versus a bigger city. That is something that you want to keep in mind, because if you're only applying for jobs in your specific area, and maybe you live in a smaller town or a really small city, then that could be why. Because like I shared with you guys before, school counselor jobs are the type of jobs that you usually stay in for years and years. Once you get it, you're in there for like maybe 10, 20, 30 years. And so that is something that you want to keep in mind whenever you are applying for jobs. But if you are applying for jobs in your city and it's maybe a bigger city, that should broaden the amount of options that you have, and hopefully you are able to land that job. But still yet, if you are still not landing jobs, then maybe you need to go outside of your city. Maybe you have to do a little bit more traveling and look for jobs outside of your area. I actually was one that done that, and I am doing that currently. The school counselor jobs in my area wasn't looking too good. There wasn't any school counselors that were, trying to move to a different area or to another school. And I actually ended up looking for jobs like smack down in the middle of the year. So usually school counselors, they're settled, they're in their spot, and they're staying in their spot at least until the end of the year before they start looking for something else. So instead of looking for jobs within my area, I ended up venturing out to another city, or another county, I should say. And so I travel about close to an hour away for my school counselor job. And so that is something that I had to do. Now, I know that there's a couple things to keep in mind, because it might not be feasible for you to do that. And so I say, still keep hoping, still keep trying, and know that the opportunity will come open eventually. It just might take a little bit more time. But if it is feasible for you to do so, to, kind of venture outside of your city limits or going to another county, then do so. I'm not saying that you should travel 2 hours away to get a school counselor job, but if you can travel within like that hour window, then do so, and hopefully that will be able to help you. Another thing that you could do is analyze how your interviews are going. So do you come prepared and confident whenever you're in the interview? Or are you not prepared, and are you very nervous? And it can really, it's okay to be nervous. I will say that it's okay to be nervous, but are you so nervous to where you can tell it on the outside? You're maybe twitching, or, you're stuttering really, really, really bad. So those are things that you need to keep in mind. So it's very important. Try to come prepared, go over those interview questions that you might see online. I actually have videos that I have dedicated strictly to interviews. I might have 2 or 3 videos. One just gives you flat questions that you might be asked that you can play, whether you're riding down the road or maybe you're in your house cleaning and you want to just hear them and you can answer them that way. And there was also questions that was asked of me to answer, and I answered them. So please go back and watch that. I think I have a whole playlist dedicated to that. I will put that in the card up above for you guys, and also in the link down below for you guys to watch. So along with being prepared, did you come with your resume? Did you come with your school counselor portfolio? Now, you might not have to pull out your school counselor portfolio to show them what you did, but it's always good to have that at hand so that, just in case they might ask, you're like, you know what, I can show you, or I can, I'll point this out, I have this, and so that is something that you can do. Now, if you're coming fresh out of graduate school and you've never been a school counselor, then really just talk about some of those things that you did in practicum, that you did in your internships. That is going to be very beneficial for you as well. Another thing is, did you do your research on the school? Do you know their population, the different social economical statuses that they're dealing with? Are they Are they in a low poverty area, or is that not an issue? How long was the school open for, so that you can be able to touch on some of those things whenever you're in that, that interview with them. Another thing is, when a school calls you or emails you to tell you that they went with a different candidate, have you thought to ask them to give you feedback on why you weren't chosen? I know it can be so easy, because I found myself doing that as well. Once they tell you, usually I get a call on the phone, hey, we went with somebody else. And you never really want to think to ask them, well, why did you go with somebody else? Is there anything that I can improve? Is there any feedback that you can give me of what you were looking for in the other candidate that you feel like, I did not have, so that I can, keep that in mind for future interviews. And so with that being said, it is okay to ask those questions. You don't have to feel so rushed to get off the phone, even though it's still devastating and it still hurts, because it's like, look, I'm putting in the time. I'm trying to, put these applications in to get a school counselor job, and nothing is catching. And so it can be very discouraging. But however, still ask the question if you can. And I'm sure that you can word it a whole lot better than how I worded it. But it's always good to get that feedback so you can take that constructive criticism and use that as fuel so that you can be on top in other interviews that you might have. Another thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is, are you only applying for certain school level school counselor jobs? What do I mean by this? So I remember for me, I only wanted to be either an elementary school counselor or a high school counselor. But I knew once I graduated, I didn't have no time to be so specific, and so I decided that, hey, look, I'm just going to broaden my perspective, and I'm going to apply for middle school, elementary, and high school setting. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to get my foot in the door to get my experience going. And then as I get the job, whenever I get that job, then I can try to venture out while I am working at what my desire is. And so with that being said, are you only applying for that certain one? You might only want to be a high school counselor. And so all you're putting in is high school counselor applications. You might only want to be a middle school counselor. So all you're putting in is middle school counselor applications. You might only want to be a primary school, specific primary school counselor, which is not that really, it's not that many schools that are primary, but you're only applying for that specific school level. Then that is going to lessen your opportunity to be able to get the job. And so with that, broaden your perspective so you can have more opportunities coming your way, and so that you can be more likely to get a job. So those are 4 things that you can keep in mind whenever you realize that, hey, look, I'm putting in applications and nothing seems to catch. I'm not getting a school counselor job. So just go over those. And I'm sure that this list can be added on too. I thank you guys so much for your time. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a video. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.